On this special episode of A Soul's Quest, Omar and I are going to be discussing the holidays and all that comes with it. So here we are talking about the holidays.
Yeah.
What do you think of the decorations?
It's you and Sierra did a really good job on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I
really love the Christmas tree. You know how I feel about decorations, the holiday decorations, and
I went all out in our overlay too. So it's nice and Christmassy and colorful.
Yeah.
Mistletoe in the whole 9 yards.
Mistletoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? He who shall be unnamed for the moment.
Yeah, he doesn't have a name yet. We'll do something in the next few weeks or so.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple of recommendations for his name, but
recommendations. We should ask our soul questers, our
we need
viewers
to.
and
We need
listeners
to. For now, he's just posting, and
for the people that are listening, you need to watch this episode so you can get a really good look at what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
but he needs a name. He is a he, right?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, we don't know. Okay, so he or she that will be.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's he's there.
Right.
It's there. It's there.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways, what are we doing here?
Well, I think that, or I thought that, when we were talking about this, that it was.
But this was your idea.
This was my idea that we needed to have an episode about the holidays, and the reason for that is because I think that a lot of people have a lot of varying perspectives and points of views when it comes to the holidays. So I really just want to dive into it because I know that we have differing points of views.
Yeah,
as well.
So the holidays, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically just start out by, what do the holidays mean to you?
What do they mean to you? You always ask me questions. So let's start with you. What do they mean to you?
What do they mean to me? Okay, so traditionally, for me, and this is just my personal experience with the holidays, my birthday is around Thanksgiving. So every year, my birthday was always celebrated in conjunction with Thanksgiving. I would get a birthday cake that was, Thanksgiving colored themed, browns, yellows, oranges. I would get a candle that was either a turkey or a big acorn or something crazy. But they always, my parents always felt like, you know what, let's get these both out at the same time.
Kills two birds with one stone.
Exactly. So I never felt like my birthday was separate from Thanksgiving, but I always loved Thanksgiving. Probably mostly because of the food. I mean, who doesn't like turkey and gravy and green bean casserole and, rice and beans and stuff. The stuff that we traditionally make, right? Pasteles and all that stuff. So, for me, it was always, my birthday's coming up and Thanksgiving, and then the decorating. I love to decorate for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it's just like the theatrics of it, I guess, maybe that I really enjoy. And I also like being with family and getting with people and just laughing, the football game in the background, things like that. There's this ambiance that I like about it. Like, there's something that just resonates with me whenever the holidays comes around. I like the bright lights. I like all of that stuff. And I think that being with family and having time off from work, because, we're fortunate. I get a whole week off for Thanksgiving. And even for Christmas, I have like a whole half of December I have it off, so I'm very fortunate that way. And so it's time to just do things that I want to do and spend time with family and go shopping and things like that. So but traditionally, family-wise, my parents and whatnot, we did the whole, Christmas presents and things like that. So it just felt like like a generational thing, I guess. And then for us with our kids, every year we were doing something with them. I guess that's, it's really not important in per se, but that's the importance of it for me.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's, I grew up outside of the States, and the holiday time was it's completely different out like in the Caribbean and where I come from.
Party animals.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. As a kid, it was fun.
It was like that. It's like that for us too.
Yeah, I mean, we used to go We used to go singing from house to house.
Like Christmas caroling? Like
it's like a Christmas carol. That's kind of like the easiest way to interpret it, but is with Latin flavor,
And this was in the Dominican Republic that you did that.
That's where I'm from. Yes.
No, I'm saying like that's where you did it at. It wasn't like you did it in New York.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Such a smart ass.
I know.
That's what I mean. Like in Dominican Republic, is this something that everybody did that there, or was it just you and your family?
No. This is the tradition. You know, come Christmas time.
That's what you did.
We used to have go around the neighborhood with with drums and sing. I mean, they do the same thing in Cuba, Puerto Rico, in a lot of Latin American countries. We do it. We celebrate it in that aspect. It was really about family and being together. Right. We did. Thanksgiving is not a Latin American thing, right. But during Christmas time, it was just about having a good time and being with family and enjoying that. Right. When it came to the gifts, it was different because we never got gifts during Christmas. Our gifts were January 6th, which is the day of Kings. Right. Or King's Day. Yeah. And that's when you actually get the kids get gifts. So as adults, the gift exchange part was not really in there because that was just primarily for kids. The gifts were meant for the young kids. Right. After a certain point, there was not. I don't know how much it is now, how it is right now, but that's how it was for us growing up. But what I remember, it's really getting together with a lot of your extended family, your cousins, that you go into your grandma's house or your grandfather's house, our grandfather's house, and then just having the adults will be drinking and having a good time. The kids will be running around all over the place, and we just had a good time. And that was that communal aspect that we really enjoyed, and I really liked that part. Right. I really enjoy. I mean, to me, that's kind of like what it meant. Now, as I gotten older,
well, let me ask you this, because you had a transition. You were a young when you came here. Uh-huh. So then, did that? And this is just because you went from one country to another. Yeah. Did that change when you were in New York? Did that the Christmas celebrations? Was it different?
Oh yeah. I mean, first you have Thanksgiving, right? Right. So
was that weird to you because you really didn't celebrate that?
No, we didn't celebrate it. So it was different. It's like, okay, we're talking turkey. I mean, you have to understand it. So it was just different, and you don't have that same communal idea as you have like in the Caribbean. It was just different. The whole neighborhood used to get together sometimes. Right. In Puerto Ricans do this, Cubans do it. Right. That's how we was. Right. It was like a community type thing.
So you still did that when you were in New York?
No, we did not.
You did not. That's
we
what
did
I'm
not.
asking.
In New York, it was very like you go to a friend of the family's house. You go to it was you get together, but it wasn't to that extent as it used to be. So when you see those two, plus it's cold, that's
different,
and that's different. Yeah. So you have a completely different thing, an idea. So when you have the two separate cultures, and you begin now to become Americanized. It takes a different shift, and as you grow up and you become an adult, it changes. Right. Okay. It becomes a little bit different. I mean, and here it's much more, right now to me, it's all about commercialism. It's all about consumerism.
So let's go into that. Why? Because now you're going into my next question, which is why is it that individuals struggle so much around the holidays?
Yeah, well,
so you're saying it's commercialized.
I mean, if you think about it, right? I explained to you two different types of ideologies, right? When it comes to the holidays, and you could say it in there's Kwanzaa, there's Hanukkah, that's all that stuff. But if you really think about culturally speaking, right? There's two different cultures that I just explained to you. One, that it was really all about joy. We had to go to mass. It was really a celebration of the birth of Christ.
right,
so to speak, but also it had its Latin flavor. It had that idea of community. Now there's no sense in that. I mean, if you really think about what the holidays have transformed into, it's really all about consumerism, and it's all about, I mean, think about it. People fight to get into Walmart and Home Depot on Black Friday.
Black Friday,
right? I mean, like, think about that. So when you look at the bombardment, and again, it's like everybody has their take on it.
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that my way is the best way, and I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
To me personally, if you're asking me, it's all about consumerism, with the undertones of, okay, let's spend time together with family and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. It's all about consumerism. It's all about buying gifts and giving other people stuff. And by doing so, you make yourself feel better. But do you really?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, personally, I do think that giving gifts, it does, when I give somebody a gift and they open the gift and they like it and it brings them joy, and I gave it from this place where I really wanted this person to have this gift.
Yeah.
I do get filled with joy. I do feel happy about doing that. But if I'm giving that gift and there isn't the expectation, and the problem with Christmas is that it's Christmas and there's this, background, or this, there's this, that's what you do. You exchange gifts for Christmas. Right. And so then it becomes an expectation, like, oh, let's say I'm going to so-and-so's house. Now I got to get gifts for this person, all their kids and everybody, because they're all there and they invited us to their house. We have to do that. Right. Then it becomes an expectation. And
then it becomes a judgment too, because if you don't give gifts, or, people are going to talk bad about you, and then they're going to, what are they going to say if I don't give something?
Yeah.
And again, it's like, if you, not to say anything, but let's say you go to like your work holiday party, right?
Right.
Like, most of the stuff that people give out, it's like, come on. It's like, really? It's just like, you're just buying stuff just to bring something. And it's not.
Yeah, but with my job, every year we do a white elephant.
Yeah.
And the idea with the white elephant is that you buy sort of like a gag gift, so to speak. Now some people have went out and bought some really nice stuff, and it's become a little contentious. People really want that really nice gift. And I'm like, that's not the point. And I've said that's not the point. Who bought that? Why would they do that? Everybody's vying for this gift. They all want it. Right.
But again,
I've bought like back scratchers, a roll of, I don't think I did. I mean, it's ridiculous, But
again, it's who's the culprit of doing that? I mean, like, you could look and you could say, well, it's just that's just what capitalists do, and that's okay. That's a legitimate argument. But also it vides into that status thing of us wanting to be
better than show that we have the means to do this or that or whatever. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think that it vies into that. So it's almost like advertisers play really good. They know this, because what advertisers play on is that temporary feeling that people, that feeling you're looking for, a feeling to feel something.
You're feeling a void.
You're feeling a void, but it's a void that can be filled by things like that.
Right. It's a temporary. It's like an instant gratification.
It's like,
and then the time has passed now. It's not important
now
anymore.
There's some people that say, well, I'm going to go because I want to get some good deals and stuff. Okay.
Right. I really want this Instapot, and it's going to be on Black Friday for $49.
Yeah.
I got to get it. Yeah,
I mean, there's those type of
I've
things.
done that.
But I've never done that.
I've done that.
Well, really?
I got my Instapot from Target, and I got it on Black Friday, and I got the best deal. They go for like $80, $100.
Great.
And I got it for like $50.
Great.
So I get that point, and that makes sense to me, but it's something that I use. I gifted one of them to my son, right, to Taylor. And it was like, it was worth it. It made that so much better buying the Instapot for that price.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I did because I wanted to give it to somebody, and I fought with people, and I didn't do that. I didn't even go buy it. I think I sent somebody else to go get it for me.
Like, I'm curious to see, like, fathers always get like ties in their birthday or socks, or underwear.
Right.
In
their stockings,
and things like that. I mean, again, it's a good, it's a bad. I don't know.
Well, I also think that
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I'm sorry to cut you off because that's what I just did. But you say there's expectations, right? What other expectations are there?
Well,
besides the gift giving and things like that, what other expectations? There are other expectations.
One of the big expectations is that I personally think is that you have to like it. Like, you have to enjoy the holiday. If not, you become like the Grinch, right?
Well, that's why you have that over there.
That's why.
We both know that you're just like whatever about the holidays.
Listen, there's aspects of it.
Santa's on my side.
There's aspects of it that I enjoy. Like, I enjoy watching, Christmas Story. Like, shoot your eye out. I think that's hilarious. I mean, it's like a tradition for me.
Movie.
I could watch I have to watch it at least once a year. I think it's just hilarious.
That's awesome.
Number one.
Mm-hmm.
What? No, I was going to do something with it. I stopped myself.
Why?
It's the end of the movie. It's very horrible. It's horrible. It's that the movie's so dated, but it's just funny. I mean,
the other movie that I really like to watch is the one with Macaulay. What is
Home Alone?
Home Alone. Oh,
yeah, I wasn't a big fan.
Oh my god, I love that movie. I cracked up the whole time. Anyway, okay.
But anyways, so the idea of you have to enjoy it, you have to be jolly, and you have to be in the spirit of it all. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people, personally, it's like, okay, I mean, I love being around people. I mean, for the most part.
I was going to say, really?
And I enjoy, I mean, a couple of years ago, we had, a lot of our family members here.
Yeah, we had like,
we cooked a big, here. We had a great time. I had a great time, and I was primarily cooking, but I enjoy that communal stuff. Like I said, fun. In the, people dancing and enjoying themselves and
the fire
eating.
Pit. We had our
the fire pit,
yeah.
like all that stuff. Like, I enjoy that aspect of it, without the expectation of the gift giving portion. Because to me, that's what matters. It's like, you have a good time with people and you enjoy that time.
Okay. So you're I'm trying to get to that, and you just went there. So we're talking about getting together with family. Mm-hmm. One, not everybody has family to get together with.
That's true.
Two, some families have
a lot of
issues, and getting together it can be very tenuous, and a lot of people that fight and stuff during the holidays. What about that? How do you? Because I have a problem with that. Well,
it's another thing that I've seen. Let me touch on that first. That is true. There's a lot of trauma in families. That's our very first experience socially, and there's a lot of trauma that comes from that sometimes is unresolved or unspoken of, and that does create an issue for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are alone during the holidays.
Exactly.
And that's really unfortunate. Because again, that idea of communal give and take, it's not there. And for the most part, we are social creatures, and that isolation during this time, so much joy, quote unquote. It's tough. And I don't really know how to answer that, or how do people handle it. And there's so many things. Oh, you go ahead and give at a at a soup kitchen, or give to others, and you could do all that. You got to find your place. The individual has to find their place where they fit in amongst that to feel a part of a community.
But also, is there that point of view where people? So, for example, we. I've already talked about my family history. I don't get along with my father very well, and I'm very distant from my extended family. Like I don't get together with them at all. I think it's just my brother, his lovely wife, and my nephew, and my other nephew, and my, it's so that's minimal for me. So really, the bigger family is your side of the family, which is my family too. But that's the family that we get together with, and we have fun with, and whatever. So. What about those people that have to make decisions about, well, this family doesn't get along with this family, and now we have to do. Cause my brother brought that up the other day. He's like, it's sort of difficult because like now I have to make decisions about where am I going and what am I doing, and that's hard for people.
It is. I mean, it's very difficult to be to want to have a good time when people are in conflict in conflict with one another, right?
Exactly.
It's hard to bring people together for a joyous occasion when you hate your uncle or you dislike what this person's going to make some comment
about my
this
food.
Person is going to do something stupid. This person is going to do that.
They're going to drink too much.
Somebody's going to get hammered and they're going to fight. All those things are true. I mean, so then there's two ways to look at. I mean, from my point of view, there's a couple of ways to look at it. One, you could say, I'm only going to be around the people that I really want to enjoy my time with. That's one option. That means that you have to be very strong and say, no, I'm not going to hang out, and you're going to make some friends, some people are not going to be happy.
Right.
Right. So that's one option, to make the decision to say, no, I want to be happy and I want people around me to be happy. The other thing is, are you willing to put up with it for a little bit of time?
What
are
you sacrificing then?
Well, that's the question. What are you sacrificing? Because all right, are you going to mitigate the situation and you're constantly going to think about this? You want to have a good time during the holidays, but you're constantly in the lookout for this person or a group of people.
Right.
He's like, Uncle Tommy is going to just act a fool.
Yeah.
Oh,
here he comes.
Here he comes. Oh, so you have to kind of like, are you going to spend your time mitigating that? Or are you going to be, I'm going to go on the other way and I'm just going to invite people? Or just, you putting up with it for just a short period of time. Mm-hmm.
Small sacrifice.
Small sacrifice for the benefit of everything else. But the question is like, a person has to make that choice.
Right, because you're still sacrificing. Because if you're not happy...
Yes.
But you're doing something because you know that this makes everybody else happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you're saying the individual has to make that decision.
You have to make that choice, because now what you're doing is, if you're choosing to do something, but you're not going to, I don't know, I don't want to say the enjoyment, but there's, every time you do something, there's something in it for you. You're either feeling good about what you're doing, or you're getting something out of it, material. Right. Well, people are going to bring me gifts and they're going to give me alcohol and they're going to give me all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to, but if you want to do it just because you enjoy seeing people having a good time together, but and if you invite these people, you're not going to get that, then it becomes like, what is the risk to reward?
Well, and then that's where you're talking about, making that decision to say no. And because it's like it's silly to say this, but no isn't a bad word. It's okay to say no if you're trying to defend that mental aspect of.
But the fear is, I mean, you started talking about, traditionally what people do, right? So the fear with that is that if you say no, or you decide to go in a different direction, then you begin to, to dismantle that tradition little by little, And what do you do when that tradition begins to dissipate? Now, traditions and things, they always evolve too. So, you started with a tradition. So again, like with my story, or a lot of Latin American people's story that come to the United States, there's a separation from our tradition. And then we come to the United States and we become more integrated with it. And a little bit of our tradition is left behind, like in the Christmas Carol, going through the neighborhood and singing, could you imagine, you have a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans with, abrame la puerta, que estoy en la calle, coming around in the neighborhoods, people, what the heck is happening? It is fun. Exactly. But it is.
Because us Puerto Ricans, we crazy.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. But again, it's like we lose a little bit of that tradition, which is a beautiful tradition. And the question is, there's things that we have to accept as we move forward, and things will change, but it has to be up to the person to decide. Like, I miss doing that. Mm-hmm. I miss doing those things, just going Aguinaldos is what it's called. You know, and to go in onto all those different places. That was so much fun, and it was so communal. And music is involved, and people like all the people are drinking, and you know, you're, can I have some? It's like, get out of here, you know. So you missed all that, you know. But there's things that come with there's things that come with those too. You know, you got the drunken person, you got the asshole, you got all that stuff. Yeah. But we begin to lose it. But the question is, that person needs to figure out, okay, now that I'm here, I have my own family, do I want to put up with that, or do I got to go the other way? Right. So you have
to be okay with whatever decision you make.
So to answer your questions, there's idea of expectation and reality. So we have our expectations in which everything is going to go perfect.
Right.
Everybody's going to get together and everybody's going to have a perfect time, and everybody's going to leave. Everybody's going to leave, and everybody's going to be like, yay, was the greatest party ever. That's the expectation. The reality is you can't please everybody.
No.
And so then when you understand that, I think it becomes easier to make a choice. It's like, well, it doesn't matter what you do. Not everybody's going to be pleased. Right. Not everybody's going to act the way that you want it. So that control part is kind of like narcissistic a little bit. Because when you bring people together, when you bring a bunch of individuals together, there are commonalities, but they're all individuals. So they all do their own things. I mean, think of how many parties people do on a regular basis. And sometimes someone says something or does something and you're like, oh. Or people, you go home and say, oh, that was a great party. But then there's somebody else who's, oh my God, I'm not doing that again.
Well, and I think also that what you're saying is that people need to be able to be okay with that, but not everybody has the capacity to do that. You're that guy. You're that guy that says, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not doing it. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing it. And then I'm that person that says, yeah, but we have to. If we don't do this, this isn't going to be good for us. We're never going to hear the end of it. And so there are people out there that really struggle with making that decision, with being the asshole or the bitch, whatever you want to call it. I mean, we just do. Now, as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at being able to say no and knowing that, you know what, it's okay to say no. I need to do this for my own sanity. This is what I want. Like, we were very clear on like what we want to do this year. This year, we're doing Thanksgiving somewhere else. I don't want to do it here. And we're going away for Christmas. We're breaking our own tradition for Christmas. We're not even going to be here.
But again, it's like, if you think about it, things are always bound to change.
No, I understand that. But I'm saying, like, for the individual to be able to muster that strength, to be able to say, no, this is what I'm going to do this year, and be okay with it, and not feel guilty, and not carry that, the feelings of guilt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being okay with that, and understanding that it's okay for me to say no. This is not what I want to do.
But again, it's like, you have to understand, like, why are you doing something? Like, that's the bottom line. It's like, why am I doing this?
Right.
Like,
why am I going? Like, it's like when we want to go when we get invited to go to the club, we don't want to go to the club. We just same thing, right?
So, well, yeah, but again, it's like, why do you want to bring people together for a holiday? Why? Is it because you want to really have a good time? Because you want to see it and you enjoy and watch everybody kind of like come together? Do you want to do it because you want to show off? Look at what I got. Because you want to, these are real things. I always tell people that be honest with the reasons why you want something, right? If something is not making you like, man, I don't really want to do this, but I have to. But again, that's just me personally. And some people, you're an asshole. It's like, well, I don't want to spend too much of my energy doing certain things that I don't want to do. When I was younger, when I was little, my mom used to say all the time, it's like, you're very particular. There's some places that you go to that you feel like really comfortable, but there's some other places that you just don't. And if I don't feel comfortable at a place, why would I want to be there?
Same.
And if you have the freedom of choice to be at a place that you much rather be, do that.
Right. And we do have that freedom of, well, children maybe don't have that capacity, but
children,
adults,
but adults
have that
do
ability. And I think more adults feel that strain. The children are just like, oh, this sucks, I have to be here, and they find a way to get through it. And then they go home and they're fine. But adults have to deal with the repercussions and the consequences of people saying things and this and that. There's always something, right? And that's the thing that I'm trying to get at, is that there's always you can't make everybody happy all the time.
And again, number one is the expectations. What are your expectations? Like, why are you doing something? Right. And if you want something to always be perfect,
right,
then you're in the wrong business.
That's unrealistic.
So it's not going to be realistic. That's not going to happen. So you got to do things because of what you want, And the other thing is that it takes courage to break away from traditions.
Yeah.
Like, it does take a lot of courage, because you're going to be ostracized. You don't like hanging out with anybody, or you don't like doing this.
Right.
That is a strong possibility that you breaking away from tradition, that's going to happen.
Right.
But that's what's the most important part? Is the most important part doing something because you enjoy it, or because you have to follow a certain tradition? Right. This is part of what a soul quiz is about. It's like you have to reinvent yourself and create new values for what's important to you.
Right.
And it's okay if somebody disagrees with you, but what are you going to do? Are you going to maintain something that doesn't make you feel good?
Right. Exactly.
That's a tough question for individuals to answer, but that's what needs to happen if they want to enjoy the holidays. That's what I will say to those people. Now, someone that has no one, which there are people out there, the question is, okay, why am I alone? Am I alone because I choose to, or am I alone because I don't know how? It's like, again, it's the same thing. If you continue to do the same thing, but you want something different, you got to put yourself out there and try something different, something new. Go hang out with a friend's family. Do something outside of the norm that will give you just a little bit of joy, particularly during these times. If you are alone, a lot of people suggest. I don't mind giving to people, but I don't like this idea of forcing people to volunteer. You see a lot of commercials during the holidays about, volunteer your time, it'll make you feel good. It might. I mean, that's a solution, but you got to find what your solution is. So you got to try different things and see, okay, well, I like giving food during the holidays. So I'm going to do that because it makes me feel, it fills me with something. I want to hang out with a friend, some families, because it gives me something, So that's my recommendations. Lower your expectations. If you're uncomfortable, force yourself to break away, create your own tradition, because you're capable of doing that.
So you kind of went into like my next thing that I wanted to talk about already, because, during the holidays, this is a time where you get extra days off from work. So you have the flexibility to sort of... Some people. Yeah. I mean, some people, not everybody, but a lot of people get time off. And so this is an opportunity for people, like for you and I. What we do is we take time to establish new goals for the upcoming year. Some people call those I don't like New Year's resolutions, just because people do set unrealistic expectations or goals, but we set goals for our year coming up. And this is the things that we want to accomplish. And for the most part, we've established goals that we've been able to achieve, which has been really great. And so why is that? Do you think that's something that's important for people to do? And you get more time during the holidays to do that, or more time to reflect. Yeah.
So the reasons why I like the holidays or that time frame is because it forces people to slow fuck down.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm
saying. To slow down. I cannot imagine being a working parent, right? Having to having to have the focus on providing for the children, make sure the education is up to par, make sure that they're well taken care of, maintain work, maintain their status in society, maintain a household. All that stuff, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stuff to do all the time. You're on 24/7, constantly going. And our society is, that's our culture. Our culture is to go, constantly going. And I think not just the holidays forces us to slow down. And what happens during that time for a lot of people is that go still there, because they're so focused on that going. So a time to step back, reflect on your year, on what you have accomplished, what you've done, how you're living. It's pivotal. It's cyclical, right? For that matters, because again, if you really think about the holidays are the end of the year cycle, right? And what better time to be able to reflect as to how you're going to move forward in the next year? That's a perfect timing for it. I wish that people have more time throughout the year to really take back and reflect as to who they are. But that takes a lot of time too, and it takes a lot of courage. Most people, as much as they don't want to deny it, cannot. And they're not capable of being alone in their thoughts. And they're very seldom are capable of asking the question, why am I doing this?
And right. You think, and that's because the Western world, we sort of are just constantly on, so we don't shut down. So it's a good point to make, because I have done this where I've been like, I need a creamer for coffee. Damn, Publix is closed. Oh, it's the holiday. Like, you don't shut off, you know what I mean? Like, and that signifies, just that little thing right there. Publix is closed today. Yeah. Like that we're forced to, okay, this is a day that we have to shut down. Right. Yeah. And that is an uncomfortable space for people.
It is very uncomfortable.
So what you're saying then is that to take advantage of that space, to shut down, basically. To shut down. But that's difficult for people. So how do people get into that space?
Well, first and foremost, it's recognizing, right, that, oh my God, I have a day off, right? Because isn't that like a neurosis, right? I have a day off, but I can't stop. I'm thinking about this. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh my God, I got to do all this stuff. That's a sign of a neurosis. So first you have to listen to yourself and say, wow, I cannot stop and enjoy the fruits of my labor. All these years went by. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I've done so much. And yet you're constantly going for the next thing. You're like that hamster in the wheel, just going. First, you got to listen to that. Because listening to that and understanding that, now you have the capability to say, oh, okay. Right? Because I don't know. I mean, sitting alone and reflecting becomes natural to me. Right? It's kind of like natural. There's some people that this is not a natural thing. It's not easy to be in your thoughts, because if you're not accustomed to listen to your mind, particularly during this time of a year, if you're not accustomed to listening to that, you may think, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me? And then the only solution after that is comparing yourself to what everybody else is doing. So you're just going to be like doing that. But what's going on inside you? Are you feeling happy about these things? Is it making you feel like I'm alive? Or is it just you're doing it because it's the thing to do? Right? So a person has to listen to themselves and listen to what, quote unquote, these neurosis, anxiety, that it's depression. What are they trying to tell you? That something's not right. Right? Obviously, if anybody is having issues and stuff like that, obviously seek help immediately. But if you're just take a little bit of time to think about this, And this is the perfect time because everything slows down more.
Mm-hmm.
Our society slows down a little bit.
So good. So then how do we use this time that is we're forced to slow down?
Mm-hmm.
How does an individual utilize that time productively? What can you do during this time? Because some people really have a lot of difficulty. Again, I'm saying that because I feel like people really have a hard time listening to themselves, and that inner, the noise that's going on sort of blocks out that ability to take time to do the things that. So what do you think people can do?
I mean,
the beginner. What can the beginner do?
I mean, you have to recognize.
You have to listen to yourself. You said
you have to listen to yourself. You also have to recognize that a lot of the expectations that are put upon us during the holidays, right? Where do they come from?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are your friends really asking you for gifts? Are your family really asking you for gifts? Or they just want your presents?
Yeah.
Or is TV telling you that you have to buy this and you have to have that?
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to understand where the messages are coming from, right? And you have to understand why you're doing something, right? It's the question, like when I work with young people, and they'll say, well, I just want to make a lot of money. And I'm like, okay, what for? So that I could buy this, so that I could buy that, so that I could get a car. So you're looking for freedom. Is what you're looking for. It's not the amount of money that you're looking for. It's the freedom, right? Mm-hmm. If when they tell me, well, I just want to move, I would just want to get a job so that I could move out of my parents' house. I just don't want nobody telling me what to do. And I say, okay, you want freedom and security. How much money is that? But it depends on where you are, where do you want to live, and what are you willing to sacrifice, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. What's your why? I mean, and these are values, right? You have to understand what your values are. This is the perfect time to sit back and reflect and ask yourself, let's say one of your objectives is, I want to be financially secure. Because this is one of the biggest issues that everybody faces. Mm-hmm. Okay? Define financial security. Define it. Does it mean I have a house to live, I have a steady stream of income, and all my physical needs are met, and I'm not struggling for my next paycheck? Okay? So then you have to define, where do you live, where do you want to live, and how much money does it take to do that? So if you achieve that, right, are you going to be happy? Are you going to, I don't like using the word happy because happy is temporarily, but did you meet your value of security and having your basic needs met?
So are you saying, just to make sure I understand, I get all that, what you're saying. So are you saying that during this time when we're being forced, so to speak, to shut down, that people should take the time out to reflect on the things that they want for the new year?
Yeah, because
and even during the holidays, and sort of set some goals, realistic goals, and like sort of like plan that out. If they're with, like, you and I take time every year to set up our individual goals as well as our collective goals.
Yeah,
and then we come together and we discuss those, and we sort of like, okay, this is what we're doing, and we hang them so we can see them, and we do all this different stuff. Is that what you're referring to?
The first thing that I'm saying to is, you got to first take a step back,
right?
Because a lot of people say to you, say you got to set goals for yourself. And I was talking to Bella a couple of weeks ago, and Bella, and she was telling me, you know what, Mr. Omar, you always used to tell us when you were younger, you got to set goals, and I was talking to a friend of mine, he's starting a nonprofit, and the first question that I asked was, what's the goal? And I said, oh my God, I sound like Mr. Omar, So she was telling me this story, which is pretty funny, because I used to tell him, well, you got to set goals, you got to set targets. And then I said, I started learning things and understanding that a goal without a value is your why, is just a recipe for disaster, right? Because you could set the goal for, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. That's a smart goal. You got a number, you got a time frame, right? But why do you want to be a millionaire? right? That's an important question, because it has already been proven that correlating money with happiness or correlating money with fulfillment, it's not equal. Doesn't amount to the same thing, right? It's the same thing with my suspicion when it comes to the holidays and it comes to consumerism and all this stuff, is the fact that again, this is my suspicion. I'm not saying that this is a fact, just my suspicion, my hypothesis, right? Is that people go out there and they try to get their hands on this, limited amount of products like Jordans or PlayStation 4, so they could brag to their friends and family, look what I got. What do you get? So that right there is because what's important to them is that status. And that's okay. What people need to do is really stop lying to themselves about the reasons why they want things. Because I could see that you're looking for status. Okay, that's cool. Because now you could brag about things. And then this is the issue that happens, because as an individual, you get caught up in all these things.
I think that just to bring it back to that place of being able to utilize this time productively, that I think that what I'm getting from what you're saying is that we need to, if you're setting goals, that you have to have, you're setting a goal, so you have to have the why. So one of the goals that can be set is that I'm going to take time to be more reflective about things, and why is it that I'm doing these things, and what does this bring me happiness, and why am I doing, what's the purpose here?
What's the purpose?
Why am I doing
Why
this?
am I doing this?
And to be able to be confident with however they feel about why they're doing this, and then proceed. If you're doing it because you know that it makes you feel good, you're touching all those things, that the values, what you're talking about, you're hitting all those points, then okay, then going to, Uncle Tommy's house is not such a bad thing. I'm going to do this, and it's a small sacrifice, but I'm getting some fulfillment out of it. I'm achieving, or I'm accomplishing, or I'm fulfilling some of my values. And so to be able to set that sort of goal and be aware, have a self-awareness about that action and why I'm doing these things, then you feel better about what it is that you're doing, and the holidays seem a little bit less stressful. Yeah.
So when you mention that you don't believe in New Year resolutions, right? You mentioned that.
I mean, I it's not that I don't believe in resolutions. It's the New Year's resolution that I have a problem with the word, maybe. Yeah. But I do believe in goals and establishing goals
But that most people felt people at the beginning of the year, they're gung ho, right? Yeah. They get this program, and they get that program, and they get all this stuff. Yeah. But it never amounts to anything. And that's another added pressure, because oh my God, I did this last year, the whole year went by and I haven't accomplished all this. I mean, and we do this too. I do it to myself, because I set certain goals that I haven't accomplished. And I go back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so far. It was another year's gone by. Right. Another of this gone by.
Well, that's the idea of setting realistic expectations.
Exactly.
And also being able to have that presence of mind to say, you know what, I didn't necessarily reach my goal, but I did these things, these incremental things, and give yourself credit for that.
And that's the reason why most people fail at their goals, because they feel that, because you're going to start getting bombarded with a lot of infomercials and commercials about 30 days or 90 days to get here, and when people don't achieve those objectives, they become less and less like, oh my God, what am I doing? It's like, start small. I mean, the fact that you could take some time during the holidays to reflect as to what do I want out of my life, or what do I want out of what's the value that I'm gaining from let's say my job. What am I getting from my job besides security?
Right.
Besides the fact that I know that I could count on a paycheck. What other value is there? Can I force myself to learn another skill in the profession that I'm in? What else am I able to do? If you're feeling anxious for something other than, the goal part, again, it's looking at, why am I feeling anxious about this time? Is it because of that I'm not meeting the expectations of the tradition? to be happy and joyous?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I expecting a Christmas miracle and it doesn't happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really looking at the expectations and just, okay, well, this is not it.
Yeah.
That's not it.
I think sometimes we do a lot of, you know, when you think about it, this just came to my mind now, is that we do a lot of self-sabotage because we want to conform to the standards or to the expectations of everybody else rather than just meeting our own. Like, I know, and I've gotten better. I'm not 100% with this at all by any means, but I've gotten better with establishing, like, even with you, like on the weekends, I'm like, listen, I work all week long. You know, I want to be able to I need a day where I can just do me. I want to be able to do the things that I want to do, spend time together, go to the movies or whatever it is that I want to do, what I want to do. And we do that. Every weekend, for the most part, you and I take time every weekend to do things that we want to do. And I feel fulfilled because of that. You know what I mean? But to be able to do things, you have, again, it's back to that self-awareness piece, is knowing that this is what I want to do and I need to do this to be happy. And I'm not going to be okay if I don't do this.
It takes courage.
It does.
Because it's not an easy task
to
break away from tradition, from culture.
To say no.
It's not an easy task. Right. I mean, it's a heroic task, actually.
It is. It is courageous.
Because, again, it's like, and you see it, you see it in families, for instance. Man, my parents are going to be disappointed with me if I don't show up for Christmas or if I don't want to do Christmas. When you start breaking away and wanting to do your own thing to make yourself feel okay, you know, you have, you know, traditions of hundreds and millions of years. And no wonder you feel anxious. No wonder you feel this type of things, because you try to break away from that. And that is those are really strong, powerful things that if you really don't enjoy those values that were passed down to you and you want to break away to something else, that's hard. You know, again, I wouldn't have a hard time breaking away from the music going around the neighborhood, because that's enjoyable. Right. But there will be someone that is like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else. Oh, why are you doing that? It's like, you're boring. You're this. You're that. You're boring. You're boring. You know, you got to content with that stuff. But you have to be courageous enough and strong enough to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But if a tradition is working for you and you feel content with it, great.
Stick with it.
Stick with it. Do you. But if it's not,
right,
and you're feeling these emotions again, and we're going to get into emotions a little bit later on next season, but emotions are there to tell us that there's something not 100% correct within us.
It's like the barometer.
It's a barometer.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not that you're constantly are going to get, you know, like happiness. Everybody thinks that happiness is a state that is a perpetual state. It's not. You know, emotions, they fluctuate, they succeed, they secede, they go up and down. There's an ever flow of things. You know, you have to figure out a way to be able to understand those emotions and what do they mean to you. So, and
I also think that just to add to what you're saying, to piggyback on that, is that you have to be able to, I think we were watching a documentary and I think they were talking about Carl Jung, right?
Yeah.
And Jung says that you have to be able to like go make a decision, go and then feel the process. And it can be uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable.
Because you're like, God, I just said no. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to do this. It doesn't feel 100%. But as you go through that and feel that, and you realize, wow, I feel so much better because I made this decision for me, that I'm going to do that again next year because that's how I feel. And if I don't feel that way next year, I'll do whatever it is that makes you happy. Yeah. You have to be able to, even if it's uncomfortable, you got to go through that, those feelings, those emotions in order to process the decision that you made, right?
Yeah.
I mean, does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. It's like you have to dive deep.
It feels uncomfortable.
It feels uncomfortable. Let me just put it in a practical way, right? Let's do a practical example on why some people feel anxious during the holiday, right? A person feels anxious during the holidays because traditionally they buy gifts for people, right? And they're anxious because they don't know whether or not those people are going to like the gifts that they get. Right? First and foremost, why are we giving gifts? Like, what will be your answer for why we give gifts?
It depends on the situation. I think, well...
No. Let's, in general, for like the holidays, why do we get gifts?
I don't really know why. I don't know why.
Yeah. There you go.
You just do it because you feel like you have to. There isn't really a reason.
There you go.
I mean, because if you think about the context of giving gifts, when Jesus was born, they came and they brought these gifts, and then all of a sudden we got this tradition of we got to buy, Michael Jordans or whatever, shoes and fancy watches and things like that. And it's like that wasn't the point of that story. That's not what that was about.
Yeah.
But people have translated it into
sell products,
right? And now it's consumerism. It's
yeah.
That's what it is. Capitalism.
It's like you have to understand the why. Why do we give gifts?
Right.
Right.
A lot of the times because we feel pressure. Personally,
and sometimes we feel gifts because we want to show another person that we appreciate them.
Right.
For whatever it is. But most of the times, if someone says, you know what, I don't like this gift giving stuff, and I feel like I have to, then don't do it.
Right.
Because it doesn't come from a place in which you want to do it.
It's not coming from a genuine place.
I wouldn't say a genuine place. I would just say it comes out of obligation, not because you want to.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that example right there, people feel anxious because I'm going to buy this gift. Is this person going to like it? Oh my God, I don't know. I don't think they're going to like this. I don't think they're going to like that. That's not the point.
Right.
Is that your why? You want everybody to like that? Mm-hmm. And you want everybody to say, oh, what a great person I am. I am because I gave them a really good gift.
Right.
Right? I mean, you think about that. You have that pressure and and understanding why. Is that adding to your life or taking away from it? Mm-hmm. Because what you're looking for, your real why, is for them to tell you, you're a great person. Mm-hmm. So it's like you start looking at these things from those standpoints, and people have, they have legitimate reasons. Not if you tell someone, I really like being around people. I don't want to give them gifts, but I really like having a good time and enjoying, doing things, and then that's great. That's probably your why, but you have to understand why. Mm-hmm. Like that's just so important to me. I mean, it just makes so much sense, mm-hmm. and we have to understand why. I mean, like traditionally, speaking traditionally, what happened with the story of Christ and the three kings has transformed into this monster of that isolates people, make people anxious, put people fighting against each other when they go into a store, I mean, think about what we've become. If you look at it's like the Hunger Games when it comes to Christmas, people just fighting, but like, why? Mm-hmm. Why is the point? Yeah. Ask that question. And as the individual, that individual has to make that choice. But it's tough because you're going against tradition. And tradition has a lot of power over us.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I know we have to wrap this up. So I think basically what I get from this is just basic, understanding of why.
Yeah.
Ask that question. Why? Why am I doing this? What is this for? What's the purpose? Mm-hmm. So.